kind of how people say like a job's really not a job if you wake up, and you're looking forward to going there
Yep.
and working. Um, that's kind of something that I want to do, and so kind of working around people at the airlines, and then just kind of hearing I wish I would have did this when I was younger, or I wish I would have pursued that. Uh, I kind of heard enough of those to be like, you know what, like I don't want to have that same I wish.
In this episode of the Keyboard Internet podcast, I sit down with Star Loamanu. Star is currently working at Delta Airlines as a ramp agent and currently in the process of obtaining his degree in cybersecurity. He's an up and coming and aspiring cybersecurity engineer who is very passionate about what he's trying to get into, shares his life story. He also shares his experience of making a career switch from his current job to the tech. Overall, we had a great sit down conversation about his career switch, his family life, and what he's doing to learn within the cybersecurity industry as he goes throughout his degree program, as well as self learning. Again, stop scrolling, stop texting, stop typing, and just listen to this episode of the Keyboard Interrupt podcast. Malo apito and to off. Welcome everybody to the Keyboard Interrupt podcast. Today we have a special guest on Star Loamanu. Again, grateful for him being here with us today and share a little bit about himself. But before we get started, Star, if you could just give us like a little background into who you are and just kind of let people know a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, first off, just thanks for having me, Bruce. Uh, it's an honor in my book. But yeah, like you said, I go by Star. I'm from Taylorsville, Utah. Married, got a whole family, 5 kids. Right now, I'm working at Delta Airlines as a ramp agent, I guess, and then I'm hoping to make the transition into tech, uh, specifically within the cybersecurity side. And then, yeah, I guess for free time outside of work and that, just kind of spending time with my kids and watching them, play sports and grow and develop. It's kind of like what you do for hobbies now.
Yep, yep, nice. Hey, so did you grow up like in Taylorsville your whole life, or like were you born and raised there?
Yeah, born and raised in Taylorsville. Yeah, been here my whole life
Mhm.
essentially.
What about your parents and family? Everyone else, siblings also grew up in or born and raised in Taylorsville.
Yeah, for my family, it's all Utah.
Hmm.
I'm born and raised in Taylorsville. I'm the only two that are kind of outside of that rule would be my sister played at Judge Memorial Catholic High School
Oh, okay.
her first 2 years of high school, and then
Yep.
my little brother finished in Riverton at Riverton High School.
Oh, nice, nice, dude. I it's funny because I grew up playing football, little league football for Judge, for
And then
Judge growing up.
where'd you finish at?
No, so what happened was I was playing at East growing up because like my family grew up in I was like born and raised Salt Lake, but like specifically in Glendale for those
Yeah,
familiar with Salt Lake. Um, and then I was going to East, but it's actually like if you live in Salt Lake, driving up to East it's quite a drive. So my parents were just like kind of tired of the drive, and then my cousins were already playing football at Judge, and it's a closer drive to Judge because it's only forgot the neighborhood, but it's like it's not you don't have to drive up all the way to the foothills to go play football. So I stuck at Judge for like almost 5 or 6 years, something like that. But yeah, that's funny, man. And then
small world.
what about your parents? Your parents were
Uh,
they also from Salt Lake or did they migrate to Utah?
uh, Bull Tongan. Yeah, my mom first moved here, and then she kind of grew up in
Oh, okay.
Utah, and then shortly, say my dad served his mission, whatever, from Tonga.
Hmm.
Um, and then after that, kind of made his way here as well.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what part of Tonga your guys' family comes from?
My mom's side, yes. My dad's side, no, not really. I
Yep,
just
yep.
know my my grandma's side of my mom
Mhm.
is Uiha, and then
Oh,
my
okay, okay.
Fo'i.
Yep, yep.
And then my
Nice,
dad's
man.
side, yeah, I don't know.
Mhm. And then, have you ever been back to Tonga?
Yeah, when I was 8.
Oh, okay. Did your whole family go, or was it just you?
Yeah, we all went when I was 8, and yeah, it was like the pre-Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Before
So
they
no,
had Wi-Fi and all that.
no tablets or anything on the plane ride,
Nothing.
huh?
Yeah, it was play with the rocks, like play with each other. Yeah,
Mhm. Was that just to go ever, or was there something going on in Tonga at that time?
I was just to go Eva. It was like the first time I got to meet my grandma on my dad's side.
Okay, nice, nice. What was the experience? Like, what were some of the things that you remember the most from that experience in Tonga?
Uh, the cold water, um, kind of the outhouse shower and
Yep.
mosquitoes, and then kind of like the little gecko or lizards just up and down the walls.
Man,
And
that
then
must
just,
have been an experience, huh?
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was definitely like one of those like what the heck? Like I thought the world was all developed, and then
Yep, yep.
you go back to Tonga, and then you're just like, oh my gosh. But it was a good experience for sure.
Uh-huh. And then, like, in your siblings, are you the oldest, or where do you fall in line with that?
Uh, I'm number 2 out of 4. So
Oh,
my
okay.
older sister, then it'd be me, and my
Yep.
younger sister. Then the last is my little brother.
Oh, nice, nice. So, like, when you guys went, most of you guys were still young then, huh?
Yeah, we were still all little kids.
Yep, yep. And then, what was growing up in Taylorsville like? Like, what activities did you guys do? What were you guys mostly involved with?
Uh, it's uh, it's a whole lot different than I think uh, a lot of the kids from like Glendale, West Valley,
Hmm.
kind of those areas grew up. Um, like we were kind of one of the only poly families out there,
Hmm.
and yeah, we were kind of excluded from everything. Like we kind of had to just play with each other, even though like we live right by a park, and then we'd go play or like say hi to some of our neighbors. Like I remember seeing like neighbors would be walking on our side of the street, just like walking their dogs, their families, whatever,
Yep,
and we'd be outside, and then they would like get to our neighbor's house and
yep.
then go around our house on the other side of the street and then come back to our side of the street. So it's like it was kind of eye opening, but
Hmm.
for the most part, it was good.
And then growing up, like, what were your earliest experiences of like tech, anything tech? Like, what were your earliest as a young Polynesian kid in Utah? Like, was there ever any experience with anything technology wise? What was that like?
Um, Earliest would be like the old brick phones that had the snake game on it.
Oh, yeah, like the Nokias.
Yeah, like little Nokias, and then
Uh
just
huh.
kind of playing on those, and then just kind of going through the whole, when phones started from being the big bricks to little bricks,
Hmm.
having the longest lasting batteries out there to, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then being able to like, if you were to like open a internet browser, like you couldn't do half the things you could do now. It would like open up to like the company page, and that was about it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think my earliest memories was just trying to like go through the settings, see what I could change, what I couldn't, just kind of
Yeah.
mess around with that, and then just kind of looking at like the Bluetooth, like what it does, and just kind of figure out like what different settings meant.
Yeah, yeah. Would you ever consider yourself like one of those kids that like the other kids would come to and like ask for help with the like the tech stuff you're working on, or like anything like that growing up,
Uh,
or like Xbox and stuff, PlayStation? Like, were you one of those big gamers growing up?
Uh, yeah, no. I mean, yeah, cause like I got a Nintendo 64 growing up, right?
Yep, yep,
And so like, I mean, obviously you couldn't hook that up to the internet, so a lot of the RPG games,
yep.
like Spider Man, or what's another one, like Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah, yep, yep,
like those games. But like, as far as like multiplayer online, no.
yep. No, I think it's the same with us too at our household because like just having the console was good enough. I don't think we even knew how to hook it up to Wi-Fi. Like most games today, most kids
Yeah,
are online, but back then, growing up, I feel like everyone, if you want to play multiplayer, you better be in the same household, hooking
yeah,
up four controllers to the same console. You know what I mean?
yeah. And the thing about it too is like like this generation won't ever know about um using your phone line, right? Your phone jack to connect
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
internet, and then while you're on the internet, like someone calls
Speak to
and it
that,
drops.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it drops the internet from the house, and then you're like, "What the heck happened?" Like, "Oh, so and so called," like, or like hooking up to AOL to connect to the internet, like
Oh man.
stuff like that. Like, yeah, we've come a long way for sure.
Oh, definitely, most definitely. Hey, I'm curious to know because like I know in Salt Lake it was like a trending thing. Did you ever have like a chipped Xbox or a
I
modded
didn't.
Xbox?
My cousin did.
Okay,
And
but you know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah,
So I feel like that's what most people had during like the early 2000s was chipped. Because in my household, my uncle was the one. We got an Xbox, or he got us an Xbox, and then he knew someone to chip in so he could download all these games on it. So I was just curious to know if you guys had it as well, or what was
yeah,
that like? You said your cousin, right?
yeah. He stayed with us, and there was like the Call of Duty Modern Warfare or Modern
Yep,
Warfare 2 when it first came out.
yep.
And so we played a couple games with like, where you just getting nukes,
Hmm,
like
hmm.
just killing him left and right. But I had another cousin that came, joined us, and he killed all of us. And then the other team started killing us, and they ended up like putting us in a cage and just kept killing us.
Yep,
Like,
yep.
yeah, stuff like that. That stuff like that's super fun.
Yeah, no, those are definitely the days like just camping, everyone in the same household, like with your cousins and stuff, and you just got that TV split screen to four different ways.
Yeah,
So that's the thing. It's just not the same these days because everything's online. So, and then in school, what schooling did you do? Did you go to Taylorsville High School as well?
yeah. So I graduated from Taylorsville. As far as education goes, did a stint at Salt Lake Community College, kind of figure out what I wanted to do.
Yep.
Didn't figure it out, so long story short, took a break, just kind of focused on Delta, and
Hmm.
then went back to school through DeVry University.
Okay.
Got my associates through them, and then now I'm back
Nice.
at school at Western Governors, uh, chasing a bachelor's.
Nice, nice. Now, when you were in high school and stuff, or when you're doing also when you graduated, went to Slick, were you ever taking any tech classes? Did they have tech classes being offered at that time period?
Nah, they didn't.
Hmm.
This is what 2013.
Uh huh.
So I feel like it was still relatively new.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, they might have started doing like the clubs first. I don't know if
Okay.
they really offered like a cybersecurity classes.
Yeah.
It was more of the programming side.
What year did you graduate high school?
2011.
Okay, I was 2015. That was my senior year. So, like, I think even at that time, they didn't even have any coding classes in mind. The basic stuff that they had in high school was like your wood shop,
Yeah, and like
auto mechanic class.
yeah,
Did you ever take that? Was like it in terms of like career stuff. I mean, the tech stuff was coming, but it's more so like how to use Microsoft Word, how
yeah,
to
like
use
the
Excel.
typing,
Yep, yep.
all that stuff. Yeah, I think when I was a senior, they had like one class that kind of taught you finances,
Uh huh.
like the basics, but it wasn't really. in depth with it.
Right, right, right. And then at Slick, what classes were you taking there? Like, what were you trying to? What was your goals back then in terms of what you're trying to get into?
Uh, so definitely just to knock out my generals,
Yep, yep.
and then at that time I was looking into electrical engineering,
Okay, nice,
and that was kind of the goal. And then I
man.
ran into thermodynamics and in classes in physics and all that, and I was just like, yeah, no,
That
no,
that's funny. We both share that in common because so my journey was similar to that in terms of like I first thought I was going down like so I started out civil engineering because most of my family does or my dad did construction, so like that's why I felt like it was secure to go down like the construction route. So I went civil engineering, but then they didn't have that major at the school I was going to, so I switched to electrical. But the same thing happened. I got to the physics class and I was like, dang, this sounds like a different language.
yeah.
I
Once they started like gravity works, yeah, air resistance and all that, I was just like, nah, I'm good.
Was this at Slick when you were taking these
Yeah,
classes?
yeah, this was that slick.
Okay, okay. And then so after that, is that when you started working at Delta as well?
Yeah, shoot, yeah, I took a little break from school,
Uh huh.
and at the time I was working at Sky West,
Oh, okay.
and then like I worked there for maybe a summer, and then
Yep.
I got to Delta,
Yep.
and then yeah,
Yep. So, hey, so for those who are like tuning in, within Utah, like working at the airport, there's actually a lot of Polynesians that work at the airport. My own family, majority of them work at the airport as well. My mom got her started at SkyWest, then switched over to Delta. So that's interesting that you also started at SkyWest Star. And then,
yeah.
how long have you been working at the airport, and like, what's that life like? If you could just kind of talk to that a bit for those who don't know what like the working at the airport's like.
Uh, so I've been there for like 8 years now. It's cool. It's a job that's pretty flexible to kind of work around, like to be able to do other career stuff that you're working on, or kind of adapt to your family life.
Yep.
But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Just kind of throwing people's bags, and yeah, that's
And then,
Delta.
do you guys do a lot of? Have you guys been doing a lot of traveling in that span of time that you've been working at with Delta?
No, not really. I'm not much of a traveler myself. I'm kind of a homebody. So
Oh, yep. Nothing wrong with that, man. There ain't
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. Save money
but
better. Save money
yeah,
that way.
it's nice to be able to have the option though, for sure.
Yep. Yep. Nice, man. And then, so while you've been working, what's kind of caused you to like the whole cybersecurity? What kind of sparked the interest in that? You know what I mean? Like, was it during your conversations with people at work, or how did that come about?
Uh, yeah, kind of a combination of things. It's kind of just like kind of how people say like a job's really not a job if you wake up, and you're looking forward to going there
Yep.
and working. Um, that's kind of something that I want to do, and so kind of working around people at the airlines, and then just kind of hearing the I wish I would have did this when I was younger, or I wish I would have pursued that. Uh, I kind of heard enough of those to be like, you know what, like I don't want to have that same I wish
Yep.
by the time I'm in my 50s or 60s. Like I wish I would have did this or that. Like
Yep.
either I do it now or while I'm still, I wake up every day. I have an opportunity to, so why not get
Right.
started?
Right.
And so that's kind of what played into the whole tech
Mhm.
journey. It's just I didn't want to do, you know, the airport ramp career my whole life and just be like, man, I wish I would have did tech. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
not gonna leave those stones unturned. So
No, nice.
I just kind of yeah. After that experience with people and stuff, I just figure I'd get started and see where I get.
Yep. Yep. So, what? How long ago did you start this journey? into tech?
Um,
And like what initially, like other than work at Delta, like was there any people that kind of said, "Hey, come join this and that or this part of tech"? Like, you know what I mean? Were there other interests that you had in terms of tech, like any other careers other than cybersecurity?
yeah. So as far as like the tech side goes, kind of like the other side of that coin of talking to people. Um, I have some young men's leaders I grew up with that were
Okay.
kind of doing tech that I kind of saw through social media
Hmm.
what they were doing, where they were working at, and so kind of talked to some of them and how they liked it, and they kind of loved it. Um, did like those personality uh, quizzes they do for school to kind of
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
your personality would match.
Uh,
So I did those two at Slick, and then just kind of seeing that it was either some type of engineering job or some tech
yep,
job.
yep.
And so then, yeah, that's kind of how I pivoted is just kind of talking to people about, how they love tech, like what's their everyday
Hmm.
look like as far as work
Hmm.
family life balance. And so that was kind of what pushed me to go more into tech.
Oh, nice, nice. No, I appreciate that, man. It's funny you brought up that those personality quizzes because man, I remember taking those. And dude, I think they it put like social worker for mine. Um, when I took those tests, I was like, man, I want to do something in like engineering. So I don't know, how was it when you took that test? Did it fall in line with what you wanted to do in the future?
Some of it, yeah. I remember one of the jobs was like firefighter, and
Oh,
so
okay.
I looked into doing that as well
Hmm.
in school. And then like uh, me and one of my buddies that I played rugby with at Slick,
Hmm.
we ended up driving to Idaho and taking their entrance exam
Oh,
for
for firefighter, huh?
new firefighters. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he studied hard, but I kind of like looked at him like, it's like the if this gear turns counterclockwise,
Yeah.
what's gear number six? And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm pretty sure that one would go this way. And so we got to the testing, we kind of like once I opened the book, I was like, oh crap. I don't remember
I
seeing these practice tests
don't.
or practice questions. So I did the best I could, but
Yeah.
yeah, long story short, like 2 weeks later, he called and he's like, dude, I got it. And then I was like, he's like, what did you get a call? And I was kind of too ashamed to tell him no first. I was like, yeah, man, I got a call too. And then like later on, I texted him and was like, nah, I didn't get a call, dude.
I think they're gonna call me later.
But yeah, for sure, like, yeah, it was good because at least he found something he wanted to do. And then, yeah, definitely working on what I'm trying to do.
Nice, nice. And then, so you said you went to DeVry University, right? Is that
Yeah.
so? How did you? What made you choose DeVry? And then was it some of those mentors that you had early on? What was that like?
Um, no, it was actually just like a one of those work perks.
Oh, okay.
They offer like a big discount
Yep.
in school,
Hmm.
and then at Slick, uh, after I told him like electrical engineering ain't my thing, I'm not doing that. Slick started offering like, oh, we'll pay for your school if you finish a degree,
Uh huh.
and they're like, just finish your generals, or and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to talk to DeVry. A lot of my credits transferred, and then through DeVry, I had to take like maybe a year and a half of school to get
Hmm.
an associate's in information systems.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's kind of what took me that route.
What were some of the classes for those that are trying to like get back into school? What were some of those classes you took early on?
Um, like networking,
Hmm.
how to set up like a network
Yep.
was one. They did like a basic introductory cloud computing.
Oh, nice.
and then like my SQL server, how to set
Mhm.
one of those up, and yeah, that was kind of a lot of the basic stuff.
So some of those technologies that you mentioned, what do you think would be the most useful to what you're trying to get into now in cybersecurity for those that are like interested in um, going to school for cybersecurity? Just to give them a picture of like the classes that you saw that were useful and not useful, I guess.
Um, Networking for sure. Just learning how to connect to a machine, and then how to connect multiple machines across networks, and then just kind of learning how a network works. That's a big one. Um, Cloud computing would be a good one. Just learning how the cloud works with everything was a big one as well. And then yeah, I think mostly just the intro. It was all mostly introductory, but for sure it was the networking.
Yeah. And then you said you're transferring to another school, right, to finish your the rest of your schooling.
Yeah, so DeVry, because it's based out of Chicago, I was paying
Mhm.
what out of state tuition, and yeah, no go. So definitely decided to come back to Salt Lake Valley through Western Governors,
Yep.
online friendly. It's kind of like a family friendly college. It's all online, and you kind of work with your instructor and your mentor, just kind of more of like a one on one.
Hmm.
And so yeah, that was kind of a big reason I went this way too.
No, that's good. Have you already started classes for that?
Yeah. So classes I'm taking right now through Western Governors is um, the cybersecurity laws and ethics, and then working on my A plus cert.
Hmm. Nice. And then like you mentioned before, you have a family. So like, what's the how do you feel like the balance is between school, work, and like trying to be a father as well?
Um, there's really like you definitely have to sacrifice a lot of the things you really want to do during the day, and like your off time from work. Like when I'm at work, when I do get breaks, I try to um, get back to my laptop and try to get to work, do a little bit. That's not always the case though when you have a lot of friends at work, and so
Yeah, yeah.
when you try, you definitely want to not try and just kind of do. And so that's kind of the part I'm at right now. I'd say is just kind of finish whatever I'm doing, and then just going, all right, get back to where your stuff's at and just get to work. And
Hmm.
then it's kind of the same thing at home. As soon as I get home, I can't just drop everything and go
Right.
straight to studying. It's
Yep.
get home, you know, see the wife, the kids. The kids like my kids are still young, and so
Yep.
I'll be sitting down and I'll just hear dad, dad. So yeah, so it's just kind of breaking up the time at home to be with them, and then kind of like when my two youngest are like taking naps, is kind of like okay,
Right. Right.
sit down, let's go, let's get to work.
Hmm. No, I think that's a great point you bring up. That's what I wanted to also ask. Like I think that's the people don't realize is the amount of time that goes into like learning tech.
Yeah.
Um, how much time would you say like for those who aren't um that don't understand like the amount of time you have to put into tech? How much time do you usually spend when you do study and learn the new technologies that are out there?
Um. So like, right, if you're single, you're going to school, or you have a job. I think 24 hours in a day, you should be able to knock it out.
Yeah.
If you you block out time within your schedule for sure. As far as family time goes, it's either like you wake up and sacrifice sleep, or hope that 24 hours somehow turns into 30 hours a day or something. Like
Yeah.
you gotta you gotta find time for sure. Around everything else that's going on, you definitely have to find little increments of time pockets just to be able to study. And so with that, it's just kind of you don't want to necessarily focus on chapters or anything, but more like certain subjects within tech.
Hmm. And then, do you ever like do your kids or your wife ever ask you like some of the stuff you work on, or like have you ever seen like them curious on like what are you doing on your computer?
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually when we're working with like Derek or on Saturday nights when we're kind of just, you know, we're doing our little um, hacking group.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, because I'm still new to it, right? So I'm just like, um, I think we're doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, they're like, oh, okay. And then they just kind of go. So, yeah.
And then also to that point, I'm also curious as to like what are some of the biggest stumbling blocks that you've been able to like overcome while getting into tech, or the biggest challenges you've faced?
Me personally, it's just time. And then just kind of adapting to rapid change as
Yeah.
far as like how the day goes and kind of where my pockets of time are to study.
Right,
Because
right.
like um, because like how I set my day up is kind of like our normal patterns, and then you got to add in like, oh, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law has a birthday or something. Like their kid has a birthday, or
Yeah.
my nephew has a birthday here, and they want us to go. So just making that time too, like okay. So definitely the time pockets for sure. It's like you could set for this much time and then really only have 15-20 minutes of like said like a 2 hour block that you might have blocked out.
Yeah, yeah. And then this program at was it WGA, right?
WGU, Western
Or
Governors.
WGU. How long is that program, that cybersecurity program that you're a part of?
Um, Really, it's up to you.
Mhm.
So kind of how their classes work, from what I understand from our um, just talking to the counselors, is you can set up to work 12 credit hours
Mhm.
for classes, whatever. But if you end up finishing those four classes within like a shorter time than expected within the term, then you can tell them, hey, go ahead and put me on the next class.
Mhm.
So some of the people that are kind of more have gone back to school a ton. They've blocked out like a year and probably finished it in like 6 months.
Oh,
So it's
dang.
really up to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Self-paced, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. And then in that program, you're doing you told me you're working on certifications right now, right?
Yeah. So definitely just because I don't have the basic, you know, A plus, and once I get my A plus, then definitely shoot for like the network and
Mhm.
security plus. And the good thing about it too is the tuition you do pay, it pays for the cert.
The cert, right? Nice. That's the
So
good thing about WGU.
you have what two you have a retake just in case paid within your tuition
Oh,
just in
nice.
case.
Yep, yep. Hey, and can you kind of explain what those certifications are to? Because people probably hear A plus, they're like, "Oh, dang, Star's a 4.0 student." So, can you kind of explain to folks who don't know what like the certifications you're going for? I think it's the CompTIA A plus, Network plus, and Security plus, right? That's the ones you're
Yeah,
studying for right now.
yeah. Shoot. These are kind of like the basic certifications that you need to kind of um, basically tell the business world that you know the basics of what you're doing, just like any electrician or plumber or mechanic would go to school to get, the basic understanding of things. It's kind of the same thing, just saying like you know how to work with the computer, work with networks, um, like the security plus. You know what to look for when someone's is where they're not supposed to be within your network, and kind of what's accepted practice, I guess, as far as how you should handle them.
Yep, yep. And then the you're currently working to the what's the A plus, right?
Yeah.
What would you say the biggest advice you'd give to someone else who's also studying for the A plus? Like, what's helped you study for it, and what are some things you've learned from it so far?
Um, I haven't actually looked into the class yet, just because I'm working with the laws class right now, and
Oh,
just
that's
trying to.
right. That's right.
But as far as like getting started, um, find a group, like
Hmm.
a group, a study group of people close to you, or who are kind of chasing the same career choice as you, or even if they're just trying to chase a different career, like people who are trying to go on that same journey that can kind of help uplift you and push you to keep going, because it's kind of lonely when you're just trying to do everything by yourself. And then
Yep.
for sure with that too is just kind of the thing with, I think, the business world is just networking, talking to different people, different spaces,
Yep.
and kind of building uh, your own network of people within different, like the construction or real estate, or whatever they're into, and just kind of building a network with those people as well.
Yep. I know because I think that's how we first met was on LinkedIn, right? I think
Yeah,
Me and Downey connected, then Downey connected me with you, and now we have our own little cybersecurity group we're all a part of. So,
yeah, and then
uh,
it's slowly growing for sure. But yeah, just with all that too, it's just like um, you're just starting to see a lot more polys do a lot of different careers now
yeah, yeah,
than the normal that we're used to, right?
right, right, which is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to ask earlier. You mentioned you had some young men leaders that kind of like mentored you. They were also in tech. Were they also in cybersecurity, or were they doing other fields, or like software engineering, or what were they doing?
Um, I'm I'm pretty sure there were so two of them were brothers. They
Hmm.
were software engineers,
Oh, okay.
and then another one was into tech sales,
Oh, okay. Yep.
and then they're right now one of them's a manager at Adobe.
Oh, nice.
Then his brother is just he's just a crazy software engineer, and like he knows
Hmm.
his stuff, right?
Yep.
So he kind of does his own like freelance. Like he'll go here for a little, then it like if he wants to pivot to another company, then he goes.
Hmm.
And then the other one just tech sales at I believe Domo.
Hmm.
But yeah, like yeah, those three are just kind of the ones that's for sure had the biggest impact on the tech side.
Oh, nice. And then they kind of like gave you insight to like what a tech career could offer, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I really ever spoke to them about like what their lives were, but just kind of like I said, through social media, just kind of
Seeing them.
you're very mindlessly clicking and just kind of looking around.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like you see like on LinkedIn, right? I just see like them on different LinkedIn posts,
Yep.
like congratulations.
Hmm.
And then one of them, yeah, I mean he's on LinkedIn, whatever. You probably know him because he's from Glendale, Shona Havili.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know Shawnee.
Well, he was a big one too, and then just kind of seeing his journey through that one conference where he was on, and kind of he shared
Yep,
his journey with the football and all that. So just seeing stuff like that, right? Like
yep, yep,
you're never into too deep. You can
yep.
always definitely make a change, and that goes with your career as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If it's something you don't like doing long term, like you're sick of,
Mm-hmm.
learn to pivot.
Yep, yep. Man, it's funny you bring up Shawnee Havili because I got a funny story. So, my family owns a restaurant in Glendale called Pacific Seas, and so my grandma's related to D Havili, Shawnee Havili's dad.
Yeah.
But this he'd always come into our restaurant, and I remember I was on my lunch break one time, and I was eating my food, and then I got up to go do something, and I come back and the plate was empty because this guy came and sat down and ate the rest of my plate. I was like, man, never again will I leave my plate by itself because I had like sipi and manyoke and like loop pulmashima. This guy straight up tore it up right when I walked away from the plate.
Is this the old era?
Yeah, the
The
old
old location?
Shun is dad. Shun is dad.
Oh, yeah. What is
That
that? The
guy.
old location or the where you guys at now?
The one in Glendale on Redwood Road. Yeah, I just remember it was still in high school. I was like working and I walked away from my plate to go do something. I come back and the plate was empty. All the food was gone. But yeah, anyways, that's just a funny story I always remember with Shun's dad, and that guy he's always like that because he's my grandma's cousin, so I just be laughing. But man, I'm glad you brought that up because it just shows the importance of like having a mentor or a community, like you said, you mentioned earlier, a community to help you out and stuff like that. I guess what advice would you give to folks that are trying to make a transition in their career into tech? Like, what's helped you the most in terms of your journey currently?
uh, I think for sure just the networking part. Um, Learning to kind of just get out of your comfort zone and talk to people that, right? Like you don't really know. It's a picture on a profile, right? Like you're kind of like, what the hell am I doing?
They
But
might be
for sure,
catfishing.
just being comfortable, just
Yeah.
like taking the chance. Like the worst, people can say is like no, right?
Yep.
Especially LinkedIn, but just for sure, just reaching out to people who think you that could help you, or I'd say start out local, like people from your own city or village. Like right for me, it was young men's leaders I've had in the past, and then from there, just kind of branching out, where kind of ran into you and Downey, and like just kind of building this little clique where like definitely start small for sure, and then work your way to maybe branching out to LinkedIn and all that.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. And then outside of like your whole tech journey and stuff, what do you like to do to get away from your computer? Because we all know it's tiring
Yeah,
looking at the
at a certain
computer all the
point,
time.
it's like, yeah, for sure. Um, Shoot. Lately for me, it's just like my two young ones are they bounce off the walls at the house. So like when I'm like, all right, I need to get out of this house or get a breath of fresh air. We live right by a park, so I'll take one of my dogs and then I'll take those two on the wagon,
Oh, nice.
and then we'll just walk around the park, kind of get
Yep.
some fresh air, recharge, and then come back and let those two take their little nap, and
Hmm.
then maybe just get some food just to kind of recharge.
Yep.
Because yeah, like you said, there's a certain point for anybody that's working tech, like you
Stare
get
at the
sick of
computer too long.
staring here, yeah, just sitting in the same spot, like.
Might go fuck out your Saturday looking at the computer all day.
I actually talked to my son plays on a soccer team and his dad works tech sales, but
Oh, okay.
he was telling me. I was like, "Oh, so what do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a hybrid schedule." But then he just said like, "I think I'd rather work in office because the only people I talk to is this one guy and my dog." And I was like, "Oh, this is not fun at all, dude."
Yeah. Nah, that's funny, man. How in the future, what kind of roles are you trying to go after in terms of cybersecurity? Is there any that stick out to you that you're trying to go after?
Um, Probably penetration tester.
Hmm.
I think for sure, maybe the long run for now, like just because it's kind of relatively new, the whole cybersecurity journey. I think eventually, for sure, cloud, something with
Hmm.
cloud security.
Oh, nice. So like a cloud penetration tester.
Yeah, just
Nice.
because just the whole landscape of it right now is just everything's for sure going to be connected to the internet one way or another.
Definitely, definitely. And then if you could speak to like what is it that interests you the most about that specific field of cybersecurity?
Um, just how free it is. Like, I guess back to that personality test, right?
Hmm.
Uh, it did say like I hate doing repetitive tasks every day.
Yep. Yep.
Like when something gets repetitive to me, I'm like checked out. Leave me like you might as well fire me type of thing. Because
Hmm.
I'm like I'm not here to. I'm just in my own world.
Hmm.
So as far as like cybersecurity penetration testing and stuff, yeah, you might be doing hacking into someone's machine, whatever. But everything's everyone has their own personality to their machines. Like it might be the same repetitive task, but it's a different way in
Yeah.
virtually every time. Like how you get into one person's machine isn't going to be the same how you get into someone else's. There's always going
Right.
to be something different
Hmm.
and like another problem that you're going to have to figure out in real time to get to their their root access or whatever.
Nice. Nice. Well, man, I'm glad to have you on the podcast tonight. If there's people interested in connecting with you or getting to know you better, what's the best place to connect with you? To I guess for folks that are trying to also make a switch in their careers and join this journey in tech, where would you say the best place for them to connect you with you is?
Probably LinkedIn. I kind of have all those other social media too, but I'm rarely on any of it.
Nah, I get you. Nah, LinkedIn's a good place too.
Yeah, LinkedIn mostly, but yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But I think someone that I should mention within my own, I guess, cybersecurity journey is that kind of sparked my interest too is my cousin Sam.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, he's kind of the one that went into his degree at San Diego State. Was his
Yep.
degree, and so just kind of talking to him about it too kind of
Hmm.
drove me to be like, all right, yeah, that's something I could see myself doing.
Yep.
Why not?
Yep. Do you often bounce ideas off with Sam in terms of things you're learning and stuff, or questions you
Uh,
have?
no, not lately. I mean, besides that, those couple of times we worked together on
Hmm.
with Downey, but just seeing that too, just yeah, definitely get the gears running when like it's a bunch of newbies and we're trying to grow together.
Right, right, right. I think that's. I want to also add to that point, like, what do you think helped you overcome? So a big thing within like tech industries, like the whole imposter syndrome. What helps
Yeah.
you overcome that? Because like I know for sure when I was starting out, I had that imposter syndrome. But like that's what advice would you give for folks that feel that way?
Um. Shoot. I think it's something that subliminally helps me, but like something that I've done kind of recently is um, my alarm, right, for when I go to work. It's some motivation. It's something motivational on Spotify, like
Mhm.
some motivational song or whatever. And then when I'm scrolling on Instagram, a lot of the stuff that I do see on my liked or whatever page, um, it's a lot of like anime um, inspired quotes,
Mhm.
like um, yeah, it's like has anime videos of like animes that I like, and then just kind of quotes with them, like you could do this.
Mhm.
It's not too late to be the best version of yourself and stuff like that. Definitely helped. Like, okay, even though I feel like for sure the imposter syndrome, like, man, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this or that.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, just little stuff like that, definitely helps. Like, okay, get you over the hump for that little short time.
Yep. Yep. No, definitely. What would you say your favorite anime is of all time? I think I know the answer, but
Uh, my it has to be the first one that I've ever watched was Naruto.
oh, okay, okay. I thought you were gonna say One Piece, but
Nah. I just haven't watched enough of it yet.
nah, I get you. I get you.
But Naruto, yeah, from start to finish, and kind of that whole storyline.
Yep. Yep.
Maybe One Piece is a good number two.
No, I'm glad. I'm glad you brought that up though, because like the whole point is just to help people understand imposter syndrome is like a real thing, especially if you've never known anyone that's been in tech or like you only know a few people. You
Yeah,
definitely feel like you don't belong at times, but it's always good to have something to motivate you to like get past that
yeah,
feeling that you do belong. You know what I mean?
yeah, and for sure, I think especially with this generation in general, is like they all watch anime, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe when we were all 10, 15 years ago, when we were all little high school kids, like you talk to people and they're like, "What's that?"
Yeah. No,
Nowadays, it's like, "Yeah, watch
you can watch as much as you want for
yeah."
free.
Like, dang, did you watch Jujutsu Kaisen, whatever? And then they're like, yeah, dude, I watched that. I was like, all right. I guess
Back
it's
then, we were grateful to even have cable.
yeah. We had the what 2 through 13.
Yep, yep, yep. PBS Kids, the free channels. Well, I appreciate you being on the show tonight, and like I said, for those who are interested in connecting with Star, go ahead check him out on LinkedIn. But hopefully, this gives you guys a little bit insight into just the journey into tech and Star's journey as well. But yeah, appreciate you being on, Toko. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys next time.
Yep. Thanks, Dogo.
Yep.